brings us back to this. The 21st century challenges I mentioned to you before. We talked about all these things happening in the world, this big transformation we're going through, this big shift. How are we actually going to do it this time? And I think just to wrap up this little talk, I want to bring up the final thing here, which I think affects your business, really, is I think we're going to see a paradigm shift in problem solving, how we actually solve problems. And it's basically, in your world, related to collaboration. How do we do more complex and nuanced collaboration from afar? If we can make this shift, a lot of these questions start to get more easy. Now, to remind ourselves, what are the key? There's 3 key attributes of technology that essentially can be applied to this problem that start to really make it a big deal. One is its ability to scale. You can do anything bigger, at bigger scale, quicker scale through technology. We've been through all the ways the network effect works and how that works. So let's just say, so if we apply technology that way, we can start to get many more people involved in this. Well, when you start to do that, the other thing that technology allows you to do is to parallel process. And this is a great, server farm. You remember the days when everybody was thinking, you got to get bigger and bigger brains. Supercomputer brains is what really is going to make faster and faster computing. And someone said, wait a minute. What if you essentially broke a problem down, distributed it amongst smaller kind of little brains, more cost-efficient computers for that matter, and then reassembled the answers, and boom, maybe that would actually be a scalable way to actually get a more powerful kind of brain work, and then essentially a very expensive supercomputer. And essentially that's what every Google search query does now. Does it in lightning fast time with fiber optics and in ways that you connect up these things. It happens in the blink of an eye. But in fact, it's like, distribute the problem. Well, there's essentially an analog which you could do with that scale of people solving problems. Because all those issues I had mentioned to you before, every one of those you got to delve into and you got to figure out sub-issues around there to solve. Just in clean energy its own, there's all these other issues you got to wrap your head around of how to solve. But the thing is, with technology, you can finally get that kind of large-scale parallel processing, getting many, many people working on the same scale of problems. And the third piece, we all know, is it collapses space. It shrinks the globe, as we well know. I mean, just, people in this room can remember when long-distance telephone calls were, expensive, and you couldn't call Europe except on a special occasion kind of thing. But anyhow, what's worth kind of thinking through is that we have watched an evolution from a physical meeting to a virtual meeting. And let's just think this through. There was a time where, you could get on that phone call, but it was kind of that expensive long-distance phone call. Then we got email, and we said, we can mail documents in real time. People can just pull it up on their screens. I mean, a lot of our meetings are still held this way. And then you start going, we got instant messaging. You can, in fact, we got IP phones. It doesn't cost anything to do these things. And then there was essentially, we can open video channels between these meetings. We can work on the same doc, Google Doc. And we can use these various wikis, here. And anyhow, there's been this proliferation of single-purpose collaboration tools going out. What's happened now is you're watching essentially, the next generation was essentially, let's kind of connect all these pieces in integrated kind of suites of tools, and particularly the big folks, IBM's Connections, Microsoft SharePoint, a lot of these were saying, okay, let's figure out a way to make this more robust in an enterprise situation. Now you've got a whole generation of these web startups. I don't know if you've used Jive or some of these other ones, but essentially they're trying to integrate this whole experience and make it kind of more accessible to anybody, not just enterprise situations. And ultimately, I would say in the next 5 years, I would look for a ton of new innovation in this space till ultimately we're going to get close to that holy grail of collaboration from afar with the same complexity that you get in a meeting. Now, it'll never totally go away. There's something that, you're networking and connection face-to-face and having drinks together and, going out late at night and giving a big hug, group hug or something. You're never going to basically quite get all that there. But this is getting really within grasp. And I would just say, what I want to just show you here is one example of this, which I think is an insight into the future a little bit. And this is, I don't know, maybe some of you seen this, but this was a guy who basically is a composer who basically said, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this kind of technology structure, this video structure, and I'm going to put out an audition, get people to audition for parts in my choir through the internet. You're going to basically, and they put out, here's, you know, what you want. I want you to sing and try out. And these young people, particularly, there's mostly young people, as you'll see here, you know, did their little pitch. They sang, and he selected the right ones, and then he got them all orchestrated. You sing this, you sing this, you sing this, and totally asynchronously. They gave him a week or two to do it. He watched all the feeds come in, and they, through an edit, essentially, they put together the choir. Now, the reason I'm putting this out to you is think for a minute the incredible, nuanced, complex collaboration it takes to make this music, and think about all the different ways you could actually use this for other, you could add, you know, other things to do with your business even. A little look. If you can do that for just a beautiful choir, what could you do using those same kind of braids, those same kind of bides, that same basic functionality? All they had were the little webcams built into every PC now. Add a whole generation. Notice how all those folks were the millennials, maybe occasional older folk. Incredible potential of what these folks and this generation and these tools could do.